In the last video, we saw Theo make a deal with the leader of Korean hunters, Kim Dong-sik, to give 50 million won to Sejun's family and tell them that he was well in exchange for 50 tower coins and 200 cherry tomatoes. Dong-sik was not only grateful for the tomatoes, but he also thought that by keeping in touch with Sejun, whom he thinks is an exceptional hunter, they could reach new heights. Back at the cave, Sejun is throwing a feast for the young rabbits who have made a house for themselves after being kicked out by their parents, who have become more romantic lately. And then, as he is eating, Sejun gets a message that the seed store is open now and he has the option to buy strawberry, potato, or lettuce seeds. And after thinking for a while, he goes with the second option and buys 100 potato seeds for 5 tower coins. And he is shocked when a sack of 100 whole tomatoes falls on him, and he somehow dodges that. Back inside the tower, Theo is at the Central Merchants Guild, where, thanks to the bargaining tips Sejun gave him, he makes a successful deal and is feeling quite accomplished. He has completed the last of his missions, and on the way back, he finds a new wandering merchant being fooled by Squirrel, the goblin who scammed him on the first day. Theo is furious, and he decides that he cannot let the evil goblin get away with this. He will not let other newcomers be harmed. He pulls up his invisible sleeves and shouts at Squirrel, who is startled as he hears his voice. Theo says that he finally found him, and as he walks angrily towards Squirrel, he is fearful of what is going to happen now. But he needs to keep up an act in front of his new target while also pacifying Theo, so he acts friendly with him, asking him where he has been for so long. He asks him if the items he gave them were quite good, and Theo just pushes him aside, saying that how dare he pretend to be close to him. Then the cat merchant turns to the newbie who was going to be scammed and tells her not to trust the goblin. He calls him a fraud, and now Squirrel panics, asking him why he was saying such things. He adds that he gave him those wonderful items at a very low price because he pitied his situation, and that is why he was so successful. But now he was trying to harm the person who once helped him the most. Theo is angry now and tells him to stop acting like a good merchant. He turns to the newbie and asks her if the goblin was selling her that tumbler by saying that it has conservation magic. And before he even gets an answer, he explains what Sejun had told him. The tumbler cut off contact with the outside world and kept things warm or cold by preventing the flow of heat. He says that there is no magic in those items, and everything Squirrel sells is trash. Squirrel is sweating now, and he wonders where Theo learned all that from. He tries to pacify the cat merchant, saying that it must have been a misunderstanding and he must have made a mistake about the product. So he wants to talk with him peacefully. But Theo has already spotted the guard dogs, and he calls them over, saying that the goblin was trying to trick an innocent newcomer. Squirrel has given up on acting like a nice guy, and he runs, telling Theo that he will definitely get his revenge for this. After that, the cat merchant is a little satisfied, and he tells the newcomer not to believe what people are saying so recklessly. She thanks him for helping her so much and asks his name, and Theo proudly tells her his name. She thanks him again, and he leaves, telling her to be more careful and not be fooled by anyone. But under the hood of the newcomer merchant is a clever fox, and it seems she is hiding something from the cat. As soon as Theo is out of her sight, she says that the mission was complete and asks her underlings to come out of their hiding places. A bunch of dog policemen come out of hiding and kneel before her, and the fox asks them what is happening. She had told them to get rid of anyone who could pose a threat to their mission. And despite that, a cat merchant came here. One of the dog officers nervously apologizes, saying that their agents had been guarding the nearby 100-meter area as planned. But they have no idea how the wandering merchant was able to enter. The fox puts a security officer cap on her head, and it turns out that she is Zerath, an agent of the Secret Investigation Bureau of the Wandering Merchant Association. She is disappointed by this failure, which was largely because her team did not do their work properly. They had been planning an operation to arrest Squirrel for the last few months, and when they finally got so close, it all went into the bin with the input of the cat. She tells her team that they should return to their headquarters now, and there, all of them should write 100 letters of apology to reflect on their mistake today. Zerath is furious and serious as she says this, and her team knows that she is not just messing around. They are scared as she walks away, thinking about how they had been receiving a lot of complaints about a fraud merchant in the Wandering Merchant Association, and after a long time they were able to track down Squirrel's movements. He was the only one who knew how to find items that belonged on the outside of the tower, and they were not even sure if he got them from illegal routes. Zerath knew that it would be very hard to catch him in action, but she was able to make initial contact with him by posing as a beginner merchant and willfully walking into his trap. And before she could arrest him on the spot, Theo interrupted them. Zerath thinks that they will have to revise their strategy, but she is also curious about Theo now. And since he is not on good terms with Squirrel, she decides to look into his story. And unaware of all the trouble he has caused, Theo is just happily eating his fried fish as he goes back to the cave to report to Sejun. In the cave, Sejun is instructing the sickle rabbit on how to cut a potato efficiently so that it is more useful as a seed. She does it as she is told and cuts it into 4 even parts, and then Sejun moves on to the next step. After gently wetting the soil with the help of the father rabbit and his watering can, he puts the cut section of the potato there. Sejun asks him if he is not curious about his strange technique of planting 400 potato plants with only 100 potatoes, and then goes on to boast that he learned it from a YouTube video. And now he thinks that something he saw without much interest is helping him so much. He receives the experience points by planting the potatoes and expanding his field, and for every 33 square meters, he gets 10 XP. It is not much, but it was still additional income. The potato sowing is done, and Sejun thinks that he should now harvest some sweet potatoes. The rabbits are also excited, and he says that they have not tasted sweet potatoes since the rabbits were little babies. And before he gets to harvesting, he asks the young rabbits if they know what they have to do. They are confused, and Sejun tells them that he was talking about the sweet potato sprouts that would be used to plant more of them. They had to remove the wines first, and he tells the baby rabbits to be careful with the sprouts, and they are dejected because they plan to snack on them along the way. But the black rabbit says something to them, and they cheer up. He says that in the past, when Sejun got the notification about receiving experience from sowing the sprouts, he decided to do it by himself, and he suggests that this time, too, he would do it on his own. The farmer rabbits start laughing at this, but Sejun seems to have caught on to their plan. He startles them when he says that they must think planting sweet potatoes was only his work, but this time he has decided not to do it all by himself. He says that farming is all about timing, and he cannot ruin that just to increase the proficiency of his sewing skill. And the rabbits are disheartened as they realize they will also have to work. The rabbits are hard at work. The mother rabbit and the sickle rabbit are cutting the grapes, and the cart rabbit is carrying them away. The black warrior rabbit is also trying his best to help, while the other rabbits are preparing the soil for the next round of planting. Thanks to their help, Sejun creates a 500 square meter field of sweet potatoes rather quickly, and he is quite tired. He has received experience by expanding the planting area even though he took the help of the rabbits, and he thinks that this was good even though he could not get the whole XP he would get by doing it alone. He has leveled up and received a bonus stat. But then the parent rabbits start singing, and their children join them. They get in line, shake their tails while singing, and start circling Sejun. He is confused and wonders what they are doing, and the tower manager gives him some answers. The rabbits were hoping for a full harvest of sweet potatoes, and that is why they were doing the cheering dance of abundance dedicated to the tower farmers. And the tower manager was also cheering up Sejun, shouting roasted sweet potatoes from his office. Sejun thanks them and says that now they should work together and pick up the sweet potatoes. But as he uncovers the first sweet potato, he is stunned to find a bright golden light coming from the ground. Everyone is shocked and overwhelmed by the light, and Sejun finds that it is coming from a huge golden sweet potato. He reads its information window and finds that it was called the sweet potato pumpkin of the sun, a mutant sweet potato that absorbs the sunlight at the tower's highest floor and is thus imbued with the sun's energy. When consumed, it burns down 100 grams of body fat instantly and grants full resilience against cold for 24 hours. Its rank was still E, and its shelf life was also only 30 days, but this was a rare crop. And the tower manager sends him a message that Sejun has reached the achievement of spawning a new breed in the tower. And Sejun cannot believe that he just obtained a new breed of food crop. Meanwhile, in the outside world, a black car stops in front of a building, and from there comes Kim Dong-sik. He is carrying a gift, and as he looks at the building, he thinks that he has come to the right place. With that, the chapter ends. There were quite a few new additions to the story in this one. The investigation agent Zerath and her quest to arrest Squirrel that was disturbed by Theo was on one end, and it will be interesting to see how she gets along with the cat merchant from now on. Also, Sejun just casually obtaining a hybrid which is a much more useful crop seems to be a lucky draw, and let us see what he gets for that achievement. Dong-sik is probably going to Sejun's home to fulfill his promise, and we can only wait to find out what happens next in the story when the next chapter drops. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and tell us in the comments, and also subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.